pastel colors in there. Every once in a while, though, he would throw in a bright color to highlight an area. Coming up on the left, you're going to see a building which is called the 1750 House. If you look up at the peak of the building, you'll see it does say 1750. And this used to be down on an estate in Newcastle, Delaware. They dismantled it, put it back together here. And it's a pretty nice facade for some of our mechanical equipment. Coming into view on the right is the museum. Of course, you see Mr. DuPont's home. And not only was Mr. DuPont interested in the transition from one part of the garden, when it's in flower, you have 2 rows of pretty nice white flowers on it. And then when they have the fruit, you have the 2 rows on our right. This is a native plant. One of the common names is bugbane. It's also known as black cohosh. For those of you that look into alternative ways of medicine, you probably have heard of black cohosh. And the second half is early in January. Then we get some yellow, which was aconite, and our amoradonis. And late March, early April, just massive blue in the scilla and condodoxa are found. Right now, on both sides of the road, that kind of bluish lavender flower you see, these are hostas in bloom. It has a large quilted leaf. And most people really grow hostas for the foliage. The flower is kind of a little extra addition to it. And there are some white ones. Did you have a question? They're called the tall spikes we saw? Like right over here? That one there?
Yes.
That's black cohosh.
Oh, the white one?
Yeah, the white one.
What's the black cohosh?
But it feel uncomfortable, I guess.
Okay.
But anyway, it is a native plant, and besides being used medicinally for some reasons, it's also host for one of the butterflies, the blue azure butterfly. And coming up on our right, you'll see a small tree with a really interesting structure. This is a Japanese cutleaf maple. When these leaves first come out in the spring, it has a nice fall color, but you'll have that structure throughout the winter time. So that's certainly a nice tree for a small landscape since it has so many seasons of interest. And you'll begin to see kind of a bluish lavender or perovskia. If you're not familiar with that plant, you ever walk by it, just run your hands through the foliage through the flowers. It's quite aromatic. And you can see some of our roses in bloom. Some of them, where the flowers have already turned brown, will soon become rose hips. These flowers are fragrant, maybe are in the Asclepias genus, such as the common milkweed, butterfly weed, or the swamp milkweed. So these host a lot of butterflies when they're in a caterpillar stage. They're really host specific. The butterflies can nectar on anything, but when they're in their caterpillar stage, they'll only feed on certain plants. Now I'm going to pause by this next conifer coming up on our right. This is a dawn redwood. It's one of the few conifers that is deciduous, meaning it drops its needles in the fall before they come off. They're a nice rusty brown color. And I know as we're sitting here, it's pretty difficult to get a feel for how tall this tree is. This is actually a garden for the April garden. And that's because in the month of April, the color will start in back with the magnolias in early April. And then each week it comes this way as the cherries and the crab apples and quince come into bloom. Last will bloom in these lilacs. And then the color will continue in the area to our left. So Mr. DuPont would use color to move you from one part of the garden to the next. So take a look at this big specimen tree to our left. This is another native tree in our area. It's a sycamore. If you look in those upper branches, you can see it has those peeling or exfoliating bark. This is a tree that I think is really quite beautiful in the wintertime when the sun catches those light areas. Sometimes it almost looks iridescent. This path to our left will rejoin us. It's a U-shape. Really nice place to visit. Most of the cardinal flowers and the blue lobelia are flowering then. Now, take a look at the seed capsules of this tree coming up on our left, the small one, and the next one. What does that look like to anybody? Peas. Peas. Okay, well that's, by saying that you would guess what family this tree is in. It's in the pea family or the leguminosae. I bet you'd be surprised to know it's an oak leaf. It's a leaf, that's an oak that's not native to our area. There's a lot of different oak trees, but when you see that leaf, it's pretty atypical of an oak tree. So this is the stock for it. Yeah. If you see right now, you see some azaleas, the sap is covered with blue. This is one called the
Wow, look at this.
Cumberland azalea, the native azalea, and what I think the native azalea usually has one flower from April to July.
Tea room. Walk in there, it'll start steaming. Just walk in there. Never ever step inside a fairy ring. That's really cool.
Yes, probably, yes. A smaller version, just very, very quickly. Here's an example of how you
Don't get caught doing that. You're not allowed to photograph anything in here.
Was that right? I asked them downstairs and they said we were.
Really?
Yeah.
Another gentleman just stopped a lady from using her.
Pretty amazing, huh? Old planes. Old stocks. Some other planes.
They have terrific Tuesdays in August. Learn about early American craftsmen who worked in metal, ceramics, and wood.
When's this?
Tuesdays in August.
Pretty amazing, huh?
He wants his shot.